let's go with the starter questions here. Like the kind of like a explain like I'm 5 type situation now that this bill has been introduced. Last time it was introduced, it went off the rails and it didn't pass. So what's the difference now that it's introduced that everybody is convinced that we're going to get mobile sports wagering on January 1, 2024?
The 2 biggest changes that I would say are, one, they've had a lot more time to work on this. As you mentioned, there was a chaotic process last time. Things were being taken out of the bill, added to the bill on the House floor, which isn't how things normally go. And I think that kind of spooked some people who said, hey, look, this is not the way we need to add sports gambling in the state. And then secondly, that time has allowed some more lobbying efforts to happen. I think people are more comfortable with the bill. And you have to remember about 25% of the House, the North Carolina House, has changed over. Many younger members, many members who are much more comfortable with sports gambling than some of the people who left.
Brian Murphy, WRL, joining us here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. He's typing away busily there. Are you?
I'm not. My hands naturally go to the keyboard. So.
All right, so what's a realistic timetable? I know we've talked about maybe next year for the Super Bowl would be something that could be implemented, because I feel like right now is peak. We gamble, but we don't really gamble week, right? Everyone and their mother fills out a tournament bracket, but that's not really gambling, Murph.
Right.
Because we don't need that. We haven't done this for the last 50 years.
Yes, somehow NCAA pools are not considered gambling, except when they are considered gambling.
Who wants to tell every office in North Carolina? But anyway.
The bill says that the effective date is January 1st. So that's a little bit sooner than I had anticipated. I think the last time I talked to you guys about this. So January 1st would mean, in time for bowl games, in time for the college football playoff, in time for the Super Bowl, and obviously in time for next year's March Madness. That I don't think that time is going to get moved up. If anything, that date could get pushed back, but I don't think it will be any sooner than January 1st.
Brian Murphy, WREL.com, WRELSportsFan.com, joining us here on the OG. If you missed any of this conversation, you can check it out on the Best of the OG podcast. Okay, so I guess the next logical thing to ask would be, what is this going to look like in terms of sports books themselves? I get the mobile sports wagering aspect of it. We're probably going to get an influx of advertising, which I'm all for. Thank you very much for BetMGM and DraftKings and everything else. And you can download the app rather than having to go across state lines to avoid the geofence. But the part that I'm curious about is like lounges, sports books. Like, where does this go? I know Tom Dundon, owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, is interested in subleasing this out. He's going to have the book, but it's going to go to somebody. I've seen plans in the renovated PNC Arena plans for a sports book. What's that supposed to look like? Where can they be?
Yeah, they can be at anywhere. There's very specific credentials, I guess, in the bill. But we're talking about Bank of America Stadium, the Spectrum Center where the Hornets play, Charlotte Motor Speedway, PNC Arena, Wake Med Soccer Park in Cary would be able to have one. And then certain venues that host golf tournaments. So Indian Wells in Charlotte will be able to have one during the Wells Fargo tournament down there.
What about something like the SAS Championship in Cary?
It has to attract 50,000 fans. There are very specific guidelines for what golf tournaments can do or what other events can do. You wouldn't be able to do it at the Greensboro Coliseum, for example, during the ACC tournament.
Okay.
But PNC Arena would have one of these sports lounges.
I was going to say, it would be a full-time sports book. So if you want to bet on golf, you can just go over to PNC Arena and bet on golf, right, Murph?
Right. Well, you can also do it on your phone. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I haven't gotten a ton of clarity on. But if you read the bill, these aren't traditional sports books. There are places where you can go, but you'd have to have an online account to be able to place a wager.
So what is the point of even going to these lounges then? If I could, clarify for me if I'm wrong. If once this bill goes through on January 1, I could be here in this. This is going to be terrible for Giglio. I could literally just during the middle of a show make bets, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so what is the incentive to go to PNC Arena
Well, it's going to be jazzed up just like any other sports bar, right? You're going to have the big screens in front of you with the lines and the black and the red and the green.
Okay.
You're going to have different ways to figure it out. But what he's trying to say is just because you have to be able to. You have to have an account. It's like going to the library.
Okay.
You can't just show up and say, "Give me a book."
So it's not going
to
to
have an account.
So it's not going to be like that time I went to the Venetian Sportsbook and I just walked up to the guy and said, "Hi, I'd like to make a bet," and he looked at me like I had 8 heads. He's like, "The sheets are
on
over."
what?
Right. That's right. I said, "I'd like to make a bet." He's like, "Cool. The sheets are over there. Fill them out and bring them back." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I don't know. It's personal, Brian.
Yeah, you
Human
won't be able to
interaction.
walk in. You won't be able to walk in with a wad of cash and throw
Yeah, I was gonna say
$1,000.
PNC is cashless anyway.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you won't.
That's true.
You won't be able to do that. You'll have to have an account.
But that's what makes me feel alive, Brian. I want to walk up to PNC Arena. I want to go, here's $20
Oh no.
on the Canes winning.
I think
$20.
I think what Tom Dundon and David Tepper and them are counting on is to create this experience that
Okay.
you want to go and you want to gamble on the game with your buddies. You want to have all the TVs going.
Oh, okay.
Think about what this week would be like at PNC Arena if they open it up on Thursday and Friday, and you're able to place your sports bets on your phone or go up to the kiosk. But they also have great food, drinks, lots and lots of TVs. You and a bunch of buddies are there. I know you'll have to make sure Gilio's not, doesn't take that week off every year.
Gilio can feel it in his plums right now. He's very excited about this.
No. I'm only betting on golf from now on.
Sure, that's the case. Okay, Brian Murphy, WRAL, WRALSportsFan.com. Before we let you go, so the chances of this actually happening, percentage. I want you to give me odds, Brian. I want odds on this actually going through.
I'd say 2-1. I mean, the proponents of this are very, very optimistic, excited, supportive. I don't know what the right adjective is, but they really think they have the votes to make this happen. And it lost by a single vote last year. I think if that vote were held again, it probably would have passed. There were some people missing. There were people out of the chamber that probably would have helped it get over the hump last year. And I think they really think they have the votes to get it done this time.
Very cool. Brian Murphy, welcome back to the show. You're off probation. We'll talk to you as these things progress so we get an update on as to where things stand. We know the governor's for it, so it's not going to be an issue for Roy Cooper once it actually gets to his desk. And we'll actually talk to Roy Cooper, governor of North Carolina, tomorrow, so we'll get his thoughts on some of the things that are going on. Brian, appreciate it, man. Good work as always.
Thanks, guys.